Dear racing fans, we've been waiting for you. We've been working, prepping, training, putting together thrilling races, high stakes, favorite traditions, and fresh experiences. From right on the rail to the top of the hill. Whether it's your first meet or your 50th, we can't wait to welcome you back this fall. Love, Keeneland.
And a good Saturday night, everyone. Welcome into the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast. Sunday morning, if you're checking us out in the archives. Jeremy Plonk here from Horse Player Now, getting set for a Sunday program beginning at 1 o'clock that features the Franklin Stakes for the Philly Mare Turf Sprinters. 9 race card for you. We'll talk about all that on day 8 of 17 in just a little bit. Forecast is for another beautiful day in Lexington. Weather has been awesome this meet. Temps in the low 70s, sunny skies, again, fast, firm. We're looking at great conditions for racing for the Franklin Stakes. A little bit of news and notes. John Velasquez, who's off to such a good start at this meet, the veteran jock, a good week this week and week 2 before leaving today to go ride at Aqueduct today. He'll be back in the mix on Sunday, and it was a good road trip for Johnny V. He won 2 races at Aqueduct today, including the Artie Schiller Stakes aboard the Todd Pletcher trained Major Dude. So a worthy road trip back to New York for Johnny V. We'll see him in the riding colony here on Sunday. Favorites won 4 of 10 on the card today, and that big pick 6 where all the chaos took place on Friday created the carryover. We had a $400,000 carryover with $2.8 million in new money bet into the pick 6 today. $14,000, the $1 payoff for those who took down the pick 6. I got 5. I got my single in, but I missed the first leg. I was out right away. Ended up with the 5 of 6 here. So hopefully one of you out there hit it. $14,000. Congratulations on the nice payoff there. Chapman's Peak, our single and best bet on the card today, did deliver. Got bet down harder than the 5-1 morning line, unfortunately, and ended up 9-5. So we couldn't make a lot of hay on that one intra race. Another curious thing about the racing today, no wire-to-wire winners on the card. And really, if you look, the last 21 races on the main track, no wire-to-wire winners on the main track today again. If you look at the last 21 races on the main track here at Keeneland this week, there was good speed showing on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 21 races on the dirt. Only 4 of the winners led after the opening half mile. I mean, it's not what you expect. That's sub 20%. Generally speaking, I went back and looked at the handicappers database that we have at Keeneland.com, and generally about 40% of the winners lead after the opening half mile at all distances. So when you're sub 20% over a 3-day stretch, it's a fairly small sample size, but it's noticeable because you expect kind of when you get the lead, turning for home at Keeneland and you're on the inside that you're going to finish things off. Hasn't quite been that way over the past 3 days. So we'll see how that plays out on Sunday. Another good day for Irad Ortiz. He won 3 today. He's won 5 over the last 2 cards. Edgar Morales has had a good couple days. He won the first race in the card today after a 2-bagger on Friday. So 3 wins the last 2 days for jockey Edgar Morales. Not a guy that you're looking for at Keeneland necessarily. So he's riding pretty well. And as we get more blue collar into week 3 and week 4 here at Keeneland, mounts for Morales might actually pick up here and be pretty good for him. So good jockey to be following there. Brad Cox won 3 races on the card today. We told you about one of them, of course, that being our pick there, Chapman's Peak. Brendan Walsh, though, still continues to be the story of the season as far as the trainers go, though. Brendan Walsh picked up the win today in the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup with Lush Lips. I'm not sure how she got let go at 8-1. I mean, the betting in that race, I thought Fionn looked okay. Not okay. Fionn looks good on paper, but I didn't see any standout against that field. And just the way that race and some of the others were bet throughout the course of the day, you go into it and you say, okay, this horse looks 9-5, 2-1, 5-2, and they're ending up 4-5, 6-5 even money. I know a lot of that's the computer money and things like that, but the computers are also betting other horses and trying to balance things out. So just because a horse gets bet heavier than you thought and you think, well, the computers didn't hit that one, they have a certain percentage on the 8-1 shots that win a lot of times too, kind of dutching and spreading and playing the probabilities game with the way the computers operate. So, I just think some of these favorites are getting bet down harder than we would normally see. And Fionn was kind of an example of that. Although I did some radio shows and talked to some people, and a lot of people thought Fionn was a lock in that spot. I didn't think so as much, but a really nice price there for sure on the Brendan Walsh trainee Lush Lips. That's now 3 stakes wins at the meet for Brendan Walsh. 8-1 on Lush Lips. 10-1 on Imagination the Lady when she won the Jessamine Stakes, and 18-1 on Jin Jin when she won the Spinster. You're getting a good ROI on old Brendan Walsh when it comes to the Keeneland Stakes so far this meet. That's a wrap of the action that we saw on the track today. Let's turn our attention to day 8 of 17 coming up here on the Sunday program. We've got 9 races for you, so that middle of the card is going to be a swing race for you in race number 5. Here's a snapshot of the program and how it lines up over a 9-race program. Races 1 through 5 are the early pick 5, and then we'll start in that 5th race with races 5 through 9 as the late pick 5. So if you have a decent opinion in race number 5, and it's going to be one of my key plays on the card, got a chance in here to maybe attack these pick 5s, because if you can narrow down in race number 5, you got a chance to maybe have a single in both the early and late pick 5 in one spot. And that can really help you when you're putting together a ticket. Early pick 4 is going to be on races 2 through 5 as usual. Late pick 4, the customary 6 through 9, the final 4 races on the program. My keys are going to come in races 2, 5, and 6. The feature race on the card is the Franklin Stakes. And if you like to play that Keeneland Turf pick 3, we've got one for you on Sunday, races 5, 7, and 9. We'll wrap things up with the Toyota Super High 5 in race number 9. There is no carryover in the high 5 going into the last race today, so we'll start anew with that. No carryover in the pick 6. Again, $2.8 million bet into that $400,000 carryover today. I thought a factor of 4 or 5. I thought there'd be between 1.6 and 2 million in new money bet into it. It was a factor of 7, basically 400,000 bet into 2.8 million. 7 times the carryover bet today. Folks really sent it in on the pick 6. Let's get handicapping on this card. We'll start in race number 1 with you on the Sunday program. $25,000 mid-level claimers in this particular spot. Field of 8 lining up in here. I've got number 7, Story Hour. Robbie Medina trained. He's got a win already at the meet. This is a class dropper coming from Churchill. The Churchill horses do pretty darn well here in these mid-level claiming races. Mile and a 16th distance, I think, will suit this one on the stretch out. Gaffleone, top jockey here at Keeneland, riding at the mile and a 16th trip, knows the way around there in the short stretch. So I'm taking the 7 in here, Story Hour, as my top choice. Not currently, but posted up as the 9-2 in the odds for the morning line from Nick Tamaro. Also picked on top in this race for 3 different horses. So 4 handicappers, 4 different horses picked on top. Certainly not a race with a lot of consensus in here. The 2, Asian Matriarch, the 3, Dark Dahlia, the 4, The Straw. Also horses picked on top by our handicappers. I've got it 7, 2, and 4. Not a high confidence play in this particular spot, but I think a slight lean in here. And at 9-2, a decent price. The other horses in here, the 2 and the 4 via Churchill Downs, that seems to be the way you want to go historically here in these 25,000 level kind of claimers. So 7, 2, 4, the way I'll line it up in race number 1 to get things started. Probably a race where you want to go 2 or 3 deep if you're looking at the early pick 5. To the early pick 4 kickoff leg in race number 2, we get our first of 3 key plays. And this is something that's pretty remarkable. And actually, when it was happening, I didn't really even notice that was happening during opening weekend. But the sire, not this time. I knew he had a good opening weekend. I didn't realize that he won 6 races with his offspring. And then when following up, all 6 of them were on the turf. 4 in stakes company and 3 in 2-year-old stakes races. That's right. So sire, not this time, has not 1, but 2 horses involved here in this race 2 coming up for 2-year-olds on the turf. His 2-year-olds won in stakes company in the Bourbon Stakes for the 2-year-old colts going long, the Indian Summer, the Turf Sprint, and then the Jessamine Stakes for the 2-year-old fillies going long. 6 wins, 4 stakes, 3 of them 2-year-old stakes, all opening weekend for sire, not this time. I've been waiting for some of his horses to run back on the turf. Now we finally get that shot. Penn Star, the 2, Thailand, the 4 are the couple horses we're talking here by not this time. So let's take a look at the picks for race number 2. Penn Star is a horse for trainer Glenn Wismer, who doesn't do a whole lot with first-time starters and not much to gather off the workout tab there. So it puts me on number 4, Thailand, who makes a lot of sense in here. Not this time, of course, the sire. This is a $900,000 colt. Wesley Ward trains, top turf sprint trainer here at Keeneland. Jose Ortiz will take them out. And you're in one of those power posts, right? 3, 4, and 5, the power posts here in a full field of 12. So you got an advantageous post position. You got Wesley Ward, who dominates these kind of races with the 2-year-old turf sprinters. Thailand by not this time. all lines up 3-1 in the morning line. If we get anywhere near that, I'll be really happy. But I'm going to dial in and really lock in on Thailand in this spot. Number 5, Wexford 1, the other horse to watch in here, coming off a good debut second at Kentucky Downs. Irad Ortiz, the top turf sprint jockey here at Keeneland, rides that one. Wexford 1 should be coming on the back end of it. Wesley Ward's also got the 6 in here, a Kilby Girl, who's pretty well drawn. With Vector Espinosa aboard and a good set of workouts. So 4 over the 5-6, the way I'm going to line it up here in race number 2. I'm going to just hone in on Thailand. Again, these not this times. You got a power post. You got Wesley Ward. Too much there. I think it's a single, a first-time starting single here, and we'll take this one first out under Jose Ortiz. So give me the 4 in race number 2. Wexford 1, top choice in here for Tom. So 4-5 is kind of 1-2 all the way around, except Scott, who's really going out there compared to the rest of us. He's got number 7, Vassy, second-time starter for trainer Brendan Walsh. Can't argue with Brendan Walsh in these races. He certainly had everything firing so far early in the meet. Then Scott's other choice in here, number 11, Sun Chaser, debut 4th-place finisher at Kentucky Downs for trainer Michael McCarthy by Justified, American Pharoah on the dam side. Both Justified and American Pharoah probably had as much or more success with horses on the turf at Keeneland as they have with horses on the main track. So you could certainly see the case made for some of those, but give me the 4 Thailand as my first key play on this Sunday card. To the third race we go next. No wager's going to kick off in this particular race. So you got to get through the third, of course, if you're going to play the early pick 4 and the pick 5. Just a field of 6 in here. These are 6 furlong allowance horses. Non-winners of 3 lifetime, or non-winners of 3 other than lifetime. So you can't have 3 allowance wins or stakes wins and be in this particular field. This is a really high-class level that's pretty much a stakes race at a lot of racetracks. Some stakes quality horses in here, but also some other ones jumping up in class. So maybe not as strong a field as you would particularly see in these races. And I don't think there's a lot of early speed in here. So I think number 3, Harrodsburg, is going to be awfully tough in here. Even money in the morning line, not telling you anything too dramatic in here. Harrodsburg also the top choice in here for Kim Nelson. Implementation, the 2's the other obviously logical horse, 2-time winner of the track at 8-5, dropping out of some higher class races, obviously. Again, I didn't think this was the classiest third level allowance race that we've seen at Keeneland. You know, the 5's really kind of overclassed in here. The 4 may be a little underclassed as well. The 6 in this particular spot, you know, hasn't really done anything exceptional. So this is, you know, the 3 and the 2 have a major advantage in this race. They're going to get hammered on the toe. This isn't a very good intra-race betting race. Can you go through this race too deep in the pick 4 and pick 5 and feel very good? Yeah, I'd be shocked if it's not the 3 or the 2. But the 3 has the pace advantage. I don't think there's anybody else in here really who wants to go with this horse early. Mike Tomlinson, Jaime Torres teaming up here. Now, the question is, we said, of the last 21 dirt races at Keeneland, only 4 of the winners have led after the opening half mile. Your eyes and your handicapping sense tell you Harrodsburg's going to be loose on the lead here. 6 furlongs is typically a very speed favoring kind of condition here at Keeneland. But the speed's not holding, so maybe you still want to go too deep in this particular spot. It's kind of, if you get 2, I think you feel very confident in here. You hate to go too deep in a pick 4 or pick 5 because it doubles the cost of your ticket to go from 1 combination to 2, no matter what you do in any of the other legs. But in this case, it may be warranted with the way the track has been playing. At least by this time, we've got the first race on the card can tell you a little bit of something. Second race is on the turf. It's not going to tell us much in terms of if the track conditions play any differently. So it's kind of too early to tell. I still think Harrodsburg, I mean, lone speed is kind of the most dangerous thing in all of racing. If Harrodsburg gets beat in this race, he gave away a big advantage. So, you know, work it out, work through it, decide what you want to do. But to me, I think Harrodsburg's probably a single in this particular spot. But if you wanted to go too deep in here with the way the speed horses have been getting caught, can't really argue with you too much in this particular spot. Let's go to the 4th race on the card. Again, 3rd, not a great betting race, and we're going to kind of save some of our budget for some of the others, right? We've got a key play in the 2nd. We got a key play in the 5th and 6th, so you don't have to go in on all the races, obviously, and the less you bet on races that you don't have a strong opinion or you don't think there's really a positive value to be found, that means you got more money to budget and play on the races where you do find an edge and where you do find value in those races. To the 4th we go. Number 1, Windy Walk is going to be my choice in here as the pick 6 gets underway. I've got a 1, 4, and 6 in race number 4. Windy Walk, my top choice. Nobody else going with the 1 on top, but used underneath by some of the other handicappers. The 6 in here, Mercy Warren, top choice for Scott and Tom. The 4, Deanne's 80, top choice in here for Kim. So the 146, the way I have it, really the other handicappers are in agreement that we're on kind of the same horses in here. The reason I gave the edge to Windy Walk in here, 7 furlong distance. This is Luis Saez territory. He has a tremendous percentage riding 7 furlong sprints here at Keeneland. You got the inside with them in here. No excuses. A horse who's run 4 times at Keeneland with 2 wins and a third. Also, a horse who's run at 7 furlongs 3 times in his career, in her career, and she's got 2 wins. So I like Windy Walk. We're going to reduce some of the variables in this particular spot. I don't think she necessarily goes to the front. Mercy Warren, the 6, may be able to go to the front. Gloriette on the outside, I think, is going to definitely go towards the front. The 2, Ask Amanda with blinkers on, maybe try to scent a little bit. I think Windy Walk should be able to work out a good trip. It's only an 8-horse field, so it's like, oh, you're down on the inside in the sprint race, and you hear everybody all worried about that. Look, consider the field size, consider the configuration of the race. This is a 7 furlong sprint, not 6, so you got a longer run into the turn. Horses can spread out a lot more on the long run down the backstretch. And this is an 8-horse field in a sprint, not a 10, 11, 12, 14-horse sprint race. So there's a lot more real estate on the track and space between horses. If Windy Walk gets a bad trick, it's because the jock gave him a bad trip, and Luis Saez in 7 furlong races doesn't give him bad trips very often. So I assume that we'll get a good trip, and I think this horse could be sitting 2nd or 3rd and pounce, fairly forward in here. And that's been a good winning trip here at Keeneland. They're not coming from the clouds. It's just that speed isn't just being carried over the racetrack. So Windy Walk could get a good trip in here. I'm taking the 1 over the 4, 6. And that's how I'll line it up in race number 4. We move to the 5th race next up. My second key play on the card, first leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. This is a 2nd level allowance race, 1.5 miles on the turf. Turf Marathoners going here in race number 5, and it will kick off the late pick 5. So this is a swing race to the early and late pick 5s. I've got a long shot play in here at 15-1 in the morning line. That's why it's one of my key plays, but I like this angle with number 11, Goes the Clown. 11 horse, my top choice in here, Goes the Clown. We're on the island. Nobody else taking this runner. This horse has been basically running middle distances, mile and a 70, mile and a 16th, down in Florida for Fernando Abreu. Now comes with Mike Maker, and the first thing Mike Maker does is stretch the horse out to 1.5 miles. If you've watched Mike Maker train over the years, how many? I mean, you could probably count a dozen horses in his care that were veterans that moved to his barn. He turns them into Turf Marathoners. He knows which ones will make this kind of move and this successful stretch out, finds a niche for him. And I think this is a really interesting horse. He goes and gets John Velasquez to ride. You don't get Mike Maker and John Velasquez team up very often. Daily Racing Form's got them together in the last 2 years, just 5 times. 2 of those wins for a nice profit of about 34% on those 5 combined jock trainer combos. So Mike Maker, John Velasquez back after the good day in New York. Really looking forward to a horse who's consistent. I mean, if you look down in the form, the last 6 starts this year, 5 of 6, first or second. Maybe the competition wasn't the toughest in Florida, obviously, this time of year after the championship meet ends at Gulfstream Park. But Maker's coming to Keeneland in a 1.5 mile turf race. I'm interested at $130,000 purse, first time coming to his barn. I think it's kind of aggressive placement. I'm going to get aggressive picking this one on top at 15-1. As for the other handicappers here across the way in race number 5, top choice in here, number 5, Common Defense for Tom and Kim. Scott's got Mutaweed, the 6 horse picked on top here. I think I've picked Mutaweed here at Keeneland going 1.5 miles in the past. That was probably in the spring meet here when running 3rd in that particular spot. Also, Mike Maker going long on the turf. So this is not like this is the similar deal, right? Back in the spring meet, Mutaweed was a horse who was claimed by Maker back in January. A couple starts later, stretches out to the 1.5 miles. Took a shot with him here at Keeneland, ran a pretty good race. Wouldn't be surprised if the 6 runs fine in here. Kendrick Carmouche, more of a speed jockey. He takes the mount with this horse, who he won with up in New York. So, Kendrick doesn't have to be just a one-trick pony, but this horse definitely has no speed. Mutaweed is going to be coming from far, far back. I think Goes the Clown certainly has more tactical speed than that one. 11, 5, 3, the way I've got them lined up in here. Also the 12, a little bit of interest in that one. If you see the 5 and the 3 showing up on some of the other handicappers across the way, that's kind of the main players in this particular spot. The 5, Common Defense for Kenny McPeak, coming out of a couple good races in a row. 1 going 1.5 miles at Kentucky Downs, then last out at Churchill, 1 3/8 miles. That's pretty aggressive running for a turf marathoner to come back there September 4th, September 25th, and now back on October 12th in 3 straight marathons. We'll see if Common Defense can keep holding that form, but certainly in career form right now off really two good back-to-back races. And this horse has found a home since moving to turf for McPeak, son of Caraconte. 5 common defense, certainly a threat in here. But I'm going to try to get the 11 in with those main players. 11 with the 5-3 and even the 12 to kind of mix in there. I'm going to go after it that way here in race number 5. And again, if we can get this horse at 15-1 and to wrap up maybe the early pick 5, to start the late pick 5, could be sitting on a big day here at Keeneland. So that's one of our top plays of the card. Number 11 goes the clown in race number 5. We'll come right back in race number 6 with another key play on the program. Late pick 4 is going to start here in the 6th race. It's a maiden special, 6 furlong race here. I've got him picked 7, 5, 2, and 3 to consider here in race number 6. But the 7, Taverna, is going to be one of my key plays on the card. Again, this is Brendan Walsh as well as his horses are running. I want to go back to the race last year for this horse Taverna at Keeneland back on October 12th. Ran a good third that day behind My Little Punky, who really ran an outstanding race that day. I was all over My Little Punky, and I thought she had a lot of talent. She showed some a good ability in her career debut. She came back and broke the maiden. She became a good stakes horse over the winter at Turfway. I thought this was a really good effort by Taverna in that race last year here at Keeneland. So then she's been off all the way till August of this year. Brendan Walsh brings her back. She showed speed, finished third, going 6 furlongs at Ellis Park in the first time back. He'll be a little tighter. She'll be a little tighter this time. Bullet workout September 17th at Churchill, 7-2 in the morning line. Give me a lot of Taverna here in race number 7 or race number 6. The 7 horse on top. Number 5, Wicked One, picked underneath for trainer Steve Asmussen. He is knocking on the doorstep of 11,000 career wins. Might get it tonight at Remington Park. He's got several running in Oklahoma City tonight. If not, maybe on Sunday at Keeneland, he gets to that 11,000 win plateau. But Wicked One, a $1.25 million purchase by both Doro. The pedigree's not that sensational with this one, but this was a horse who was bought at the 2-year-old sales back in 2024. Never got to the races as a 2-year-old, now a late blooming 3. Wicked One, certainly you kind of look and respect, but at the same time, this wasn't what they bought this horse for, spending $1.2 million in a 2-year-old sale to wait all the way till the 3-year-old season debut in October at Keeneland. So we'll see what they have. I'm a little defensive with number 5, Wicked One. Could be good, could be a bust. We'll see how it goes. Cut to the chase, the 6, top pick in here for a couple of the handicappers. Wesley Ward with an Ellis Park debut 4th place finisher. Couldn't hold the lead at Ellis on the turf. Now goes back to the dirt by Complexity out of an Indian Charlie mare. So certainly pedigree to run on the main. And Bullet workouts. This horse is going to show speed. 6 is probably going to make the lead in here. Cut to the chase. We'll see if Johnny V can milk that one on the lead all the way. I don't think so. I think this horse backs up going 6 in the way the track profile has been. I'm going to try to beat the 6 in here. Cut to the chase. Everybody else has on top. I'm going to try to get this horse out of the number. I'm going 5, 2, and 3 in here. And if we can knock the 6 out, feel pretty good about it. If you got a vulnerable favorite in a situation where it looks like everybody's going to kind of dive in maybe on Cut to the Chase, American Pearl, first-time starter for Will Walden's got a lot of potential probably to get bet with a couple bullet workouts at 3-1. That's what makes Taverna, to me, the key play and one of my key plays on the card. So 7, 5, 2, and 3, the way I'm going to line them up here. And I'm going to try to beat the underlaid 2 and the underlaid 6 in this particular spot in the race number 6. Let's move along to race number 7 coming up here. It's the Franklin Stakes feature race here. Starts the second leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. The Keeneland Turf Pick 3 will be races 5, 7, and 9 on this Sunday card. Franklin Stakes for the Turf Sprinters. Field of 9 has entered in here. The outside runner is the defending champion. Future is Now. Draws the 9-hole. Last year won this race and has really done absolutely nothing wrong over the past couple of years. 10 for 18 lifetime, but you look at the last bit of this horse's form so far. 6 of the last 7, missing by a half length from winning all of those races in succession. Beaten a half length in the Caress Stakes the year last year. I mean, this horse could very well be 9 for the last 9. Given a half length here or there. One of those defeats did come at the hooves of Pipsy in the Intercontinental up at Saratoga. Pipsy's back in this spot. I think those are the 2 to watch in here. Future is Now and Pipsy, the 9 and the 5. Now, Jockey Paco Lopez is suspended. Future is Now 2 for 2 over the track here at Keeneland. Came back and won the Giants Causeway in the spring after winning the Franklin in the fall. jockey Paco Lopez suspended, so the new jock will be Irad Ortiz. And as we've mentioned many times, the top turf sprint jockey here at Keeneland wins about 30% of his turf sprints here at Keeneland over the last several years. Just a phenomenal number because turf sprints often are kind of crapshoots and working out a good trip. And Irad knows how to do that. From the outside here, with only a 9-horse field, should be able to get into good position and kind of avoid a lot of the trouble. Speed in here probably comes a bit from In Our Time. Luna Luska, the 7, also has some speed in here. One Happy Mama, the 4, might try to show some speed. We'll see how that goes. Luna Luska's won 4 in a row, including a couple stakes, one in Indianapolis, one in the Floral Park at Belmont at Aqueduct last time out. So Gustavo Delgado, Florida-based trainer, but this horse has been winning in Florida, in Indianapolis, and in New York. So Luna Luska, interesting off the 4-race win streak, but could get hooked up in some speed in here. And I think Futures now sits just to the outside. And this horse has a good press and pounce kind of style. Last year winning this, Franklin was 3rd, a length and a half back, and was able to pull off the victory. I think a similar kind of trip is probably in store. I've got it 9-5. I think 2 of the favorites in here. Not a lot of creativity, but Futures now and Pipsy, the 2 in here, I think you've got to watch out for. As for some of the others, the 1 pondering is Brendan Walsh. We said he's got 3 stakes wins at the meet. He's looking for a 4th stakes win and his 3 previous on the turf. He'll try to add a turf sprint here with the Franklin Stakes. Actually, of his 3 stakes wins, I think 2 were on the turf. He, of course, won the Spinster Stakes with Jin, that being Brendan Walsh. So Pondering's got a chance in here off a bad race last time at Kentucky Downs. Sometimes horses just do not fire there. If you go back to the previous form, though, this horse runs pretty darn well in turf sprints, winning 2 of 3, including Stakes Company at Ellis Park. But I think it's the class of the 9 experience over the course of the 5. Pipsy matches up pretty well when she fires. She's not been super consistent, but when she's on, she's right there, and she's run well here at Keeneland. So I'll go 9-5 in here in the Franklin Stakes. In terms of a multi-race bet, I would be singling Futures now. If you're looking at the late pick 4, the late pick 5, if you're playing a pick 6 ticket, I'd single the 9 in this particular spot. Irad, good trip to the outside, 2 for 2 over the course. I don't think we're going to get, much of a big price here at all. 7-5 in the morning line. Just try to get through this race if you can with the 9 on top and move through in the multi-race wagers. To the 8th race we go next up, and the 8th race on the program. No new wagers are going to kick up here, and it is $16,000 claimer. A bottom level claimer, or towards the bottom of the level here, $10,000, about as far as we'll go down. There are occasionally 7,500 claimers at Keeneland, but very rare. 10,000, I think, is going to be the basement here for this meet. 16,000 here, 7 furlong sprint in this particular spot. In race number 8, let's take a look at the picks in here. Across the way, the 12 Guanair, the 5 Background, the 6 Lightning Struck, and the 10 One Cool Dude. 4 handicappers, 4 different picks, 5, 6, 10, 12, all picked on top. The 8 Lend It to Tooney's one that we all kind of have in the mix, right? 2nd or 3rd. Lend It to Tooney looks like a horse who's going to be right up in the mix, not too far off the pace, should be in the hunt throughout. Tom Amos had this horse in the past, lost him in the claim box, reclaimed him. That's usually a pretty good sign. This horse has been claimed back and forth many times. Should fit okay for the 16,000 level here at Keeneland. Has been running a little bit lighter than that in terms of some of the class levels. Here ran a good 3rd at Keeneland last fall when still a non-winner of 2 lifetime. Now into the open conditions with 4 career wins. This isn't a race that's loaded with a bunch of win machines, though. Almost everything in this race with 3 or 4 career wins, except the 5 and the 6. Background and Lightning Struck are 8 and 9 time winners. And I like that, when you're going to get the field of a lot of horses who've only won 3 or 4. The 6 Lightning Struck is going to be my top pick in here. By Practical Joke, a 9-time winner. 6-year-olds run 51 times, has never run on the dirt here at Keeneland, but Practical Joke gets more than 20% winners here on the main track at Keeneland. You know I like him as a sire. Claim 2 starts back for Robertino Diodoro. Now they take the big class drop. You say, well, you claimed the horse for $32,000. Now you're running for $16,000. That's a really bad sign. The purse of the race is $51,000. The winner's share of this race is going to be more than $30,000. So you're getting the purchase price back on there. And if the horse would happen to get claimed for $16,000, you're actually turning a pretty quick profit. And when you're talking about a claiming trainer like Robertino Diodoro, who turns a lot of horses in and out of his stable, that's not necessarily any kind of really bad sign or fire sale. I think he's got the right one here with either Lightning Struck or the outside horse Guanair. Another one for Diodoro, claimed for $25,000 at Ellis Park. Won a race already for $16,000, stepped up. Now, if they lose this horse in the claiming box, almost assuredly will lose this 4-year-old for $16,000. But again, they could get a nice profit pulling off another $30,000 winner's check for this big purse, a $16,000 claim, and they could walk out with a nice profit and clean their hands. And that's kind of the strategy you look at with some of these claiming trainers out there. 6 and 12, the two Diodoro trainees are the way I'm going to lean in this race. Lend it to Tooney, the other horse in here who makes a lot of sense. I'll be surprised if this race gets beyond the 6, 12, or 8. And if it does, you might get yourself a pretty decent price. But the 5 background, the 10, One Cool Dude, also horses picked on top in here by our handicappers. Background is one of those Steve Asmussen trainees we talked about. He's going to make a big class drop in here. This horse just hasn't been competitive, and this looks like a needed class drop because hasn't been able to warm them up for 32,000 or 25. So the natural was just to kind of keep going down the line. That's with the 5. The 10, One Cool Dude in this particular spot. This is a horse who ran for 25, ran 9th last time behind Lightning Struck. Had a little bit of trouble in that race. Maybe gets a mulligan and comes back second start off the layoff. Also for Jordan Blair, One Cool Dude hadn't run since October when coming back in that race in May. Hasn't run now since May. So a lot of layoff lines there for a horse who's inconsistent, but on his good races has been pretty decent. But I'm going to try just the top 3 in here, 6, 12, and 8. And really, I could go just 6 and 12 in here and figure Diodoro's got it cornered with one of his 2. But I wouldn't be shocked if the 8, Lend It To Me, is right in the mix all the way. And a horse you probably want to include. If we're going to single, Future is now in there. We love Taverna. We're going to go all in for Taverna in race number 6. We like the long shot in race number 5, but certainly not singling the 15-1 maker in there. You'll get a little more coverage if you're playing the multi-race wagers. So I think 2 deep, maybe 3 if you want there in race number 8, but that ought to cover it for you as we head to the 9th and final. Toyota Super High 5 race is race number 9 on the card, and 5.5 furlong turf sprint in this one. I got a lot of numbers on my page, I'll be honest with you. It may just absolutely be one horse. It might be Wesley Ward from a good power post. Again, 2-year-old turf sprinters. Wesley Ward's got another one in here in the 3-hole, and in the 4-hole, She's on a Roll and Cynical Humor. I think you've got to start with those 2. Ward wins these 2-year-old turf sprint races. He wins turf sprints. He wins 2-year-old races when they combine together here. We don't get that many 2-year-old turf sprint maidens like this, but Ward's got a pretty good mark in these races too. But then you put him in the power post there in 3 and 4, and the horses have good form. They're both coming off decent 3rd place finishes last time at Kentucky Downs. It's probably Ward with either the 3 or the 4, and that's probably as much as you need to think about it. But out to the outside, the 13, Alpeland, if this one draws in, I'm interested. Not a great post position, obviously, but a Vacoma Colt who really, I thought, woke up last time and ran an improved race on the turf after a troubled start. Mark Cassie's good with these 2-year-old turf horses at Keeneland. Not necessarily a turf sprint trainer, but certainly a trainer with 2-year-olds on the grass who can get them ready. Alpeland from post 13, if that one draws in, might be one to consider as well. The 14 on the also eligible list, Green Screen, certainly would fit off the Saratoga debut for trainer Graham Motion. So keep an eye on the also eligibles in here. I got a lot of numbers written down on my past performances, but a couple of these are AEs. It's probably 3, 4, and 7 if the AEs don't draw in. As we look at our picks across the way, let's see what the other handicappers have done. She's on a Roll, Cynical Humor. That's kind of the way. They're 3 and 4 up in the front with a lot of us. And then over on Kim's end, she's got the island here with number 5, Cowboy Roy. Another in a power post, 3, 4, and 5. This one debuted for a maiden optional claimer last time out at Colonial Downs and ran a good second in there for Ethan West. Capable trainer for sure. Concepcion's won a couple races here at the meet so far. A good post position if you're looking for a big price. Maybe Cowboy Roy won to warm up the exotics in here at a good number. But I'm going to lean towards the Ward horses in here. 3 and 4. I don't need to go too deep, barring the also eligibles drawing in. If the also eligibles get into the race, then we kind of mix in some of the others. The 13 and 14 interest me off the AE list. So keep an eye on the scratches and changes. Of course, if you want more information after those scratches and changes tomorrow, I'll be on for a social media hit here on X on both the Horse Player Now and the Keeneland Racing Twitter handles. So check that out. Usually around the 12 o'clock hour, about an hour to post, we'll come live and give you the updated picks. The scratches and changes will come out in around the 10 or 11 o'clock hour, and I'll give you a Substack update there. So if you'd like to get an email to your email inbox from the publishing software Substack, sign up. It's free. JeremyPlonk.substack.com. Live Lots of you during the course of this meet have been added to the Substack. I'm happy to see that. Be sure to sign up. There is no charge for the information, and I'll give you my updated picks, last-minute notes going into the card after the scratches come out so that we can make any kind of adjustments. Blog is up right now for the handicapping stats and trends for tomorrow. Of course, the top picks you can get at the Handicappers Consensus page as well. That's going to wrap things up here for the Saturday night podcast and the week's podcast here for week 2 of 4 at Keeneland. Of course, we preview the next day's racing, so there is no podcast coming up on Sunday or Monday night. I'll be back with you on Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern to preview the Wednesday program. We hit Wednesday. We're into the second half of the meet next week, so let's finish up strong here on the Sunday program. Good luck to everybody on the Franklin Stakes card. Again, should be great conditions for racing. Fast track, firm, good to firm turf course. Temperatures expected to be in the 70s and sunny skies in Lexington on Sunday. Have a great night, everybody.